Listening to Compton's very own Ice Cube, Eazy-E, and Dr. Dre. I gotta tell you, you are witnessing history.
People are scared of you guys. You have a unique voice. The world needs to hear it.
They want NWA? Let's give them NWA.
Straight Outta Compton is not only breaking box office records, it's making its mark on the internet as well. The biopic about the rise and fall of the 80s hip-hop group NWA opened on Friday and features a marketing campaign unlike any other. Joining us now to discuss more is author Dalton Higgins. And good to have you here on this, Dalton.
Hey,
this is $73 million in its first weekend and a huge marketing push behind it.
That's right. The marketing department, they need to get raises, you know. They need to get, I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, me going back before, you know, it hit the mainstream commercial kind of, you know, popularity, you know, this is going back to the 80s. You know, they came out, their second album went to #1 on the charts. A lot of us hip-hop enthusiasts were kind of going, okay, these guys, the pink elephant in the room is that the name of the band is NWA,
yeah,
right? So they're taking the N-word and popularizing it for, you know, mostly...
Controversial to the nth degree.
Super controversial, okay? But to see it go from 1988 to now, where it's been fully embraced by the mainstream, it's unbelievable.
And I want to deal more with that, because when you make $73 million in your opening weekend, that's a diverse audience.
That's a super diverse audience. I mean, a lot of people still have in their mind this idea of hip-hop culture being sort of, you know, something that is listened to low-income, mostly black, Latin American youth. But, you know, the largest consumers of hip-hop culture, they say now, are Caucasian males, you know, and so we're seeing a lot of this. We're seeing a multi-culti, you know. I see Asian youth reposting the meme, you know, straight out of Scarborough, straight out of Red Deer, Alberta, straight out of Nunavut. I mean, it broke the internet.
Tell me more about that meme, because that was part of the brilliant marketing campaign in order to promote this movie.
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting because in one of my books I talk about how hip-hop does a great job of sort of democratizing, you know, getting everybody involved. You know, there are entry points for everybody, and I think that's what this marketing campaign did, is you saw it didn't matter where you came from. Certainly NWA, they made it cool to come from Compton, Straight Outta Compton. That's the name of their debut album, 1988. But everybody, it helped you kind of wherever you're coming from, you can pretty much say, you know, put it on the map, essentially, because of this marketing campaign, Straight Outta Somewhere.
Yeah, and when you have J-Lo straight out of the Bronx, and you've got, you know, LeBron and everybody else. Look at, there's J-Lo there, straight out of the Bronx, and LeBron straight out of Akron. That doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't. It's about local pride, you know. So there are neighborhoods in Toronto where I'm based, and people are saying, hey, you know, I live in this part of Toronto, and I want to put it on the map, you know, as a subtext to the Straight Outta Compton marketing campaign. So that's a beautiful thing.
You've got Dr. Dre, now billionaire with Beats and that whole deal and everything he does, and Ice Cube, a bona fide film star, producer, the whole thing. They're behind this movie, along with Eazy-E's widow, and you know, they have a lot to do with this push and that marketing push. To have those faces out there means a lot.
That's right. I mean, you know, most raging, you know, teenagers, 20-somethings, 30-somethings have Beats by Dre headphones. I mean, and as you'd mentioned, the guy's, he's on his way to becoming a billionaire, right? So, you know, I think the other piece to NWA that you'll, you know, see in the film and their narrative in general is they're also talking about social issues as well, right? So, again, another pink elephant in the room is in their debut album. They have a song called F the Police, you know? So they're talking about police brutality. They're talking about serious issues. And one of the band members, you know, contracted HIV and eventually passed away from AIDS, Eazy-E, all right? So underneath the marketing brilliance and, you know, popularity, mainstream popularity, there's some heavy social issues underneath as well.
You know, there's that line, and I think it's Ice Cube in a press conference when asked about press and asked about his lyrics in that song in particular about the police. He said, you know, when I open my front door, I'm writing about what I see. What do you see when you open your front door? And it's an interesting observation.
Yes, it is. You know, he recorded a song called, you know, It Was a Good Day as a solo artist, you know, and it's also timely and topical. I mean, a lot of the issues that they sort of went through in the 80s, 90s
Look what's happening
today.
Now.
Precisely. Black Lives Matter, you know, police issues. So they were talking about this in the 80s, you know, and it wasn't quite so sexy and saleable at the time. But now you see that the resonance, you know, it's far, wide, and deep.
Well, it's a story that's attracting a lot of attention and filling seats everywhere in movie theaters. Good to have you here.
Hey, thank you.